Provisionally Prepared is the awesome new miniature that was released by Games Workshop. It's part of their commemorative series. I am quite a large fan of their commemorative series. The idea of just giving us little things because they can. This isn't specifically supposed to be used as a playable piece. It's just a really nice diorama or vignette, if you want to call it that. Something to be built and painted and just enjoyed. Now they have given us a custom mission set to use this alongside the new kill team game Brutal and Cunning, which I think is amazing, and I think I will be giving that scenario a try myself. Now this is quite a complicated piece, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it up into two videos. One video is going to be exclusive to my patrons and the other video is going to be here on YouTube. The one I'm going to give you guys here on YouTube is how to paint the two Rattling snipers themselves, and that's what we're going to cover in today's video. The other video is of course going to be the awesome base for these guys, which will be available to all patron levels, except for free, obviously. So if you want to check that out, it will be linked down below. Okay, so this is the provisionally prepared box, and it is awesome. I do wish they had names though, like Rain and Rouse from Blackstone Fortress. Their names stuck in my head, well, till this day, obviously. Rain and Rouse, they're very cool. In fact, I kind of want to clean them up and get them added into this little force. I think that'd be kind of cool. But yes, they're just called Provisionally Prepared. They are two Rattling snipers that are dug into an emplacement. They've got sandbags, they've got a solid wall, they've got a good line of sight. Clearly they're killing enemy targets because there's like a kill tally on the wall scratched in. I think they're up to like 14 kills so far, so they're doing well. One guy, sniper rifle ready, finger up, shushing, getting ready for the next shot. The other guy is offering them a sausage, because that's Ratlings for you. There's cooked chickens, there's an apple, there's a cup of coffee, there's a little mini fridge on the left there. That's a mini fridge. Where they got this stuff from, I don't know, but they are provisionally prepared. So it's a very cool set. I'm very happy to get my hands on it. It was very kindly sent to me by Underworld Gaming, a awesome independent stockist here in Dublin. If you want to check them out, I will leave their website linked down below. You can get yourself some awesome hobby products at a discounted price from the normal. So yeah, I recommend them. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is, of course, work on the two Ratlings themselves. This video will focus on the two Ratlings. Going up at exactly the same time as this video over on my Patreon will, of course, be the awesome scenic base, which I wasn't originally planning on doing two videos for this, but there's just so much in it that it would just be a really bloated video if I try to put it all in one thing. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is we sprayed the models black and then we sprayed them gray sear, which is how I start all my miniatures pretty much. There's a whole video on that if you want to check it out, how to do it properly. And then we grabbed some Guilliman flesh and we applied it to all the skin. So with Ratlings, there's of course all the face. One of them is bald, got their hands. But like hobbits, halflings have no shoes on. So yes, their feet are out display. So make sure you get the skin tone on that as well. After that, we grab some Agaros Dunes. I want this guys to sit in with my Cadian force. That's pretty much how they're painted on the box set. And that works for me. I have a beautiful new Cadian army that I'm slowly working my way through. And yeah, they're just going to match in with those. So we're going to go the same kind of khaki color shirts that my Cadians have. And the same green color for the trousers and the camo cloaks and stuff. Same for the rifle stocking, the binoculars. All those kind of colors will get done with that same flesh color. Sorry, Militarum green contrast color. Flesh what we layer with a little bit later. And it's going to look really cool. I really like the look of it. You could obviously do it to match whatever guard armor you have, but obviously we have the new Brutal and Cunning Kill Team box set coming out at some point in the near future, which will give us another 10 Ratlings to paint up, and they're all going to be painted to match my Cadians too. So when I'm not using them for Kill Team, I can still deploy them in 40k alongside that force. Now obviously I'm painting two miniatures in this video. They'll both get painted at exactly the same time, and unless there's a specifically different piece, like the sausages for instance will be kind of shown. But if I do one color on one, just assume I did the same color on the other guy. It's just how it works. So wildwood for all of the straps, belts, buckles, any of those kind of bits and pieces. This guy's wearing night vision goggles around his head. So I did the strap and stuff holding that on. I also did the little tuft of fur or hair coming off of his little hobbit feet. I got them done base coated with wildwood as well. There's the sheath of his little dagger. And any other bits and pieces like that you can see across the model. The strap for holding the binocular on the other guy is going to get done with wildwood as well. Finding little holsters. It's one of those things where you just got to take your time and try and make sure you didn't miss any bits and pieces. Mutton chops got done with the brown color as well because it just felt right, I think. I don't know. Black Templar was then brought in. And there's only kind of a couple of details we want to do with the Black Templar, mainly the rifle. So obviously this is a Militarum kind of long shot las rifle. And there is certain parts of it. So the stock Certain parts of the scope, the silencing part of it on the top, they're all going to get done with black, just to break it up. So it'll be green, black, and silver. It's going to look like a very sleek rifle. So although these guys are like messers and, you know, they steal what they want and get a little bit of food and stuff, they are still crack shots. They are unbelievable snipers, and they take their job and their equipment, i.e. the sniper rifle, very seriously. So they're going to be always in immaculate condition and ready to go. I grabbed a Dark Angels green because honestly, the channel is called Mediocre Hobbies because I don't consider myself to be a particularly amazing painter. I can get nice tabletop standard stuff, and I'm trying to pass that kind of knowledge on to you guys. But I always get stuck when it's like glass vials and people do like, you know, the line in the middle and you see bubbles in there and you can see the liquid. Nah. For me, I'm going to go with that old dark green glass color. I'm also going to go for the light blue color. So one represents alcohol probably, and the other one represents water. You'll see the watery ones on the base video over on Patreon. Obviously going in with some metallic now to block in the other parts of the rifle. So the handle, the other bit of the sniper, some parts of the scope, the of course beautiful Imperial Aquila stamped across either side, and then all the other bits and pieces on the miniature that need a little bit of TLC. So the pommel and the kind of finger guard of the dagger, his belt buckle, dog tags, you know, any of those kind of bits and pieces, bits on the binoculars are going to get done with that as well. It does not take long to get these two awesome models base coated up. But once they are all base coated up, it's time to shade them. So we're going to throw a Seraphim Sepia shade down across the entire model, making sure it settles into all the recesses and stuff. It just gives us a really nice kind of succinct tone across the entire piece. And then from there, we can officially start layering up. As you can see, I'm really good at keeping the model inside the framework of the camera. I never veer off. There's never any detail missed. I never miss any clips from my videos because I can't keep it inside that little box. Never happens. Carrick Stone, once the model was fully dried, make sure the shade is fully dried before you go into this. Carrick Stone was then brought in and we were highlighting up the khaki parts of the model. You may have noticed that I was using an air khaki there. I just used some of the air paints because I consider them to be basically pre-thinned. They work great. If you have normal Carrick Stone, that's just as good. You just have to add a drop of water to it. Yeah, so don't worry about that. I get asked a million questions. Why did you use the air one? They're just paints, but they're already pre-thinned. Some of them work really good. The reds are incredible pre-thinned. And I had a khaki on my desk, and yeah, that worked great too. As you can see, working up through all the folds and stuff of the jacket, or his jumper, or his whatever that is, khaki shirt. This is the Wah flesh that I'm going to use as the highlight for all of the green. So of course his little combat trousers, his camo cloak, and the stock of the rifle, or the body of the rifle, and then the binoculars on the other guy as well. The body that's going to get done in green. And like I said, it's a very quick step, but it just adds a little bit of punch to the green. Makes it, like I said, matching with my Cadian army. So when I finish this piece and I set it in the middle of the army, it's going to look like it belongs there, which is kind of cool. I like that a lot. And it was cool when I was reading some of the books on the fall of Cadia. They did literally have a kind of short story section following the awesome adventures of a Rattling sniper, you know, taking out chaos dudes left, right, and center. He had a bad time when he found an Astartes though, so shh. But it was cool to know that Rattlings were deployed and were fielded in the defense of Cadia itself, and are indeed part of the Cadian military force. I didn't really know how they fit into the whole military structure. Obviously, Cadia is a very proud world. I don't know where they would have a halfling population from, or Ogrim population from. Do they ship them in from other worlds? I don't really know, but he seemed quite well respected inside the ranks of the army, so we just left him there. Cadian Fleshdown was then brought in as the first highlight on the skin. Now, I like to take skin quite seriously these days. It's one of my favorite things to paint, and obviously it's quite a focal point for most models, so I do like to spend a little bit of time, a few extra layers. So you know that we already got this guy a contrast of Guilliman flesh, and it's already been shaded down. So now we're going to add a Cadian flesh tone, and we're going to add the first highlight to the skin. As you can see, I've broken out my brown handled old heavy metal brushes, and I'm taking my time making sure to get those kind of highlights right, and obviously following that across the feet and the hands and knuckles, his arms, all those kind of bits and pieces are going to get done as well. Behind his mutton chops to actually get his little neck and get that done. Now, a couple of months ago, I've started adding an extra step into my paint. Before, I would have just gone straight up to Kislev flesh here and just done the final highlight on like the tip of his nose and cheeks and stuff like that. But I found that the models always seem quite drawn out. They're very, very pale. Most guys aren't that pale, especially something like a hobbit. So I've started to grab a Berserker Bloodshade at this stage, and I use it from my wet palette. So I take it from pot to wet palette, and obviously the wet palette thins it a little bit. So I add a very thin coat of Berserker Bloodshade across all the skin areas. This just adds kind of like a little bit of rosiness back into the skin, a little bit of life, a little bit of warmth, which I think sits a lot more naturally than the kind of colder tones I was using before. So this is it with the Berserker Bloodshade just applied, and as you can see, it is a lot warmer. And then we come in with our Kislev Flesh. I don't know why I kind of wheeled it into frame like that with my hand. Grab my strong hand. I don't know why, but it happened. Let's just move past it. So yeah, Kislev Flesh with obviously the same fine pointed brush. And as you can see, I'm going in, just adding, like I said, tops of cheeks, tip of the nose, a little bit on the forehead, you know, the knuckles, just any of the high points. It's a really light, fine highlight on the skin. And this will, of course, make the model pop. Like I said, whenever anyone picks up a model, they will look at it's the old adage, the old saying was faces and bases. Make sure you got good faces and good bases on your models, and your army's going to look great. Why people are drawn to looking at faces and bases first, I don't know, but it is a thing. So yeah. So here we go, the skin done on our beautiful Ratling. Thondia Brown was then brought in. You can do Thondia Brown, I like Hadachan Flesh, any of those kind of warm brown colors to highlight like leather straps and stuff. But also we're going to give these guys brown hair, so his mutton chops and these hairy feet are going to get done layered up a little bit with that Thondia Brown. Then the kind of straps and stuff for the night vision goggles, binocular strap, any of those kind of other bits. Starting to come together now. Iron Breaker, so slightly brighter silver, and we're going to use that to highlight the rifle. Now, if you've watched a bunch of my other videos, you know that usually that I use Lead Belcher and then it gets shaded down and I pull Lead Belcher back in. I wanted to go a tiny bit brighter this time, so I jumped for Iron Breaker. And that was once again to represent the idea that although these guys are quite slovenly when it comes to their uniform and their eating habits, their equipment is really pristine. So the rifle will be polished to perfection. It will always be in great condition. They know how to maintain their equipment. Even this guy's binoculars, for instance, will be like, he's probably not supposed to have binoculars. He stole them from somebody. When he steals something, he tends to want to keep it in pretty good spirits. Grabbing some Bugman's Flesh to, of course, highlight the sausages. You gotta have some nice pink sausages. I mean, this guy's obviously got a string of them attached to his belt, and he's cooked one up for his friend. They need names, damn it. Name these guys for me. So obviously they are now painted and ready to be added into their beautiful scenic base. I will give you guys a little preview of what that scenic base looks like now, so that if you are so inclined to watch it over on my Patreon, go check that out. See how I painted up the chicken or the pie or the sandbags or the base or the mini fridge or the apple or the water bottle or the shell casings. Or just so much on this base. After I've glued these two awesome little characters into place, I get to finally, for the first time, look at this vignette for myself. And I love it. I think they're absolutely awesome. Super pleased to have this kit. It's only arrived to me the other day. So once again, a big thank you to Underworld Gaming for sending this out to me. Like I said, their website is linked down below if you want to go check it out for yourself. If you live in the greater Dublin area or in Ireland in general, it is a great place to pick up your hobby essentials from. I've also put some dark, moody photos of these guys in. I always like taking photos like this, like kind of like in the scene. These guys would be, you know, down the end of a city street, the street lights flickering, that kind of thing, or dug into a position, ready to take the next shot. They're not going to be in a big bright surrounding. They're trying to be quite sneaky. So I think these photos really do kind of sell the way they would be fighting their fight. So I had a great time with this model. Hopefully you guys did too. And I can't wait for the next commemorative model in the series. And there we have it, guys. Provisionally Prepared is now fully painted and ready to sit on my shelves doing nothing. No, I'm joking. It's ready to be used in my Kill Team game, and of course just enjoyed like all these awesome characters are. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you do want to see the second half of it, do make sure to check out the Patreon link down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like, ask me any questions you want in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed. It costs you nothing to subscribe to the channel, but it does make a huge difference to us. So thank you guys so much for sticking around at the end of this video. I'll see you in the next one.